Alright guys, so we're going to do a Patreon request, and this one comes from a friend of mine. And she basically sent me this request, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. It's actually kind of funny, we were like spitballing ideas here back and forth, and then she kind of threw out this one, and like we piecemealed it together, so here we go. So, as always, if you guys would like to send me a Patreon request, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, you guys get the 3rd tier, and you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, let's get started with the story. Danny Phantom, 13 Ghosts. There you go, Danny Phantom versus 13 Ghosts. Yep, I think I'm going to have like a cool colon, whatever cool name to it behind it, but whatever. Anyway, so let's get started. So the story actually begins with, Danny getting a visit. Like he's just kind of like at home chilling. This is after the show, so he's just kind of like, yeah, life's good. I'm fighting villains here and there, but nothing too bad. And then the ghost portal opens, and a ghost comes out, just just some normal spirit. It materializes, and it becomes Matthew Lillard's character, whose name escapes me. Dennis. And yes, I had to totally stop the video and look. Anyway, so Dennis appears before Danny, and Danny's like, hey, what's going on here? So Dennis explains that, like, he's like, look, man, I've been looking for you all over the Ghost Zone, and you gotta turn on the news right now. And he's like, alright, I don't know what's going on. So Danny turns on the news, and it's revealed that, dead center of New York City, the glass house from 13 Ghosts has reappeared, and it's basically like in dead center, and it's like SWAT teams have tried to go in there and they just get butchered, and written in the blood on the windows is "Bring us Danny Phantom." And he's like, okay, I do not want to do that, because here's the thing, Danny knows that house, because he's read, like, his parents have read Paranormal Activity, like have dozens and dozens of books and reports of noted paranormal activity throughout the years, and one of those was Cyrus's house that he built for the 13 Ghosts, and he basically read that, and he's like, I know what that is, and I can tell you right off the top of my fucking head, that's not good. Like, that's not a place I want to be. And Dennis says, dude, I died in that house. How do you think I feel? I helped make that house for Cyrus. But look, you gotta do it, or all of those people in New York are gonna die. Because what's gonna happen is, not only are those 13 spirits may get out, that's the least of your worries, but the energy drawing from there is literally going to start absorbing life around it. And that's one of the most populated, if not the most populated city in the world. Do you really want, like millions of people to die if you don't stop this? I don't know. And Danny's like, do you know why they want me, Dennis? And he's like, I don't know. I got out of there after the house was destroyed the first time. But Cyrus's hold on the other ghosts kept them from being, freed after the house was destroyed. He basically is like, look, if you know what's in there, then you know what's gonna, it's nothing but nightmares in there. But look, you're the only one who can do this. And Dennis is like, look, you're the only one who can do this. You gotta go and take care of this, right? You gotta take care of this. So Danny goes, and he's like, Dennis, you're coming too. And he's like, I don't wanna. Well, you're going. He's like, but I don't wanna. And Danny goes, I don't care. You're coming. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Why am I coming? Because you helped build the damn thing. Because you wrote me into this bullshit. Because I will pummel you if you don't. Any other reasons? No, Dennis! Yes, thank you for that. Yes, I gave you all that beautiful scene. So Dennis is forced to go with Danny to this. And if you're wondering where's, like, Sam and Tucker and all the others, this is one of those stories, like, I thought it'd be kind of fun, like, a lot of this is, like, it's a very, like, Danny Phantom-centric story. Like, it's just him the goat and the 13 ghosts. It's one of those, like, think of it if it was like a graphic novel. Think of it like if this was like graphic novel format. In fact, this story was inspired by a graphic novel, which you may piece together, but I'll tell you later. But yeah, so Dennis leads Danny to the heart of New York City, Central, like Grand Central, whatever, like New York Square. There you go. It's late. I'm tired. I'm trying to put this together. I literally put this together last minute. So there it is. The house is right there, and already, like, Danny's looking around as Dennis is leading him to the building. He's seeing people, like, they're like withered husks everywhere, and he's like, Dennis is already like, it's already starting, dude. Like, you gotta go in there. And he's like, are you coming with me? And he's like, I can't, man. That's some negative energy, and I can't, if I go in there, I'll get shredded. So you gotta go, man. Vaya con Dios, dude. You're on your own now. So Danny's like, fuck. All right, I'll go. So Danny goes in, and he already, like, feels like this weird sensation come over him. But he's like, oh, well, maybe it's just fear or anxiety. I need to press forward. So he goes in, and the house is, like, all twisted and all around, like, glass everywhere, and he's seeing all the markings. But as he, like, goes further into it, the more he, like, feels like something's wrong. But before he can really question it, it's instantly attacked by the Torn Prince, who just takes his baseball and bat and just cracks him over the head. And he's like, why didn't I feel, like, holy crap, why did my ghost sense go off? So Danny fights the Torn Prince. In comes the Torso, who's not a violent spirit, but, like, something's making them more violent. And he just, like, fights them both off. Then he takes on the child, and he's got real guns this time, and he gets shot. And Danny's like, I can't, like, it hurts to phase through stuff. What's going on? So Danny is, like, just kind of, like, going through he's just going through the house and encountering all of these spirits who have become more aggressive. And the house is constantly twisting and turning, and he can't, like, he even tries to, like, phase through something, but the energy is, like, he tries to, like, phase through a wall, one of the glass walls, and it instantly, like, spits him back, like, it forces him back, like there's some kind of dark energy. So eventually Danny Danny figures out, like, this place is hurting me. This place is literally, it's like my fucking kryptonite. It's like this place was built it's a place to trap ghosts. But I'm half ghost. This is doing something worse to me. So Danny goes further into it, and he runs into the hammer. And the fight is, so he fights the hammer, and he has to, his ectoblasts are, like, getting weaker. His sonic scream is doing, like, less damage. So he has to depend on, like, going, like, hand-to-hand fighting. And that's when he's kind of like, I wish I spent more time with this. So he has to, like, fight the hammer, beat him, and, like, the other thing he does is, like, use all of his strength, just rip the hammer away from him, and then just use that as a weapon as he continues further into the building. Because he's like, I already know who's behind this, and that's Cyrus, and I'm gonna send him back to wherever he went. So, but as Danny keeps going, like, he feels the energy of the house, like, affecting him. The thing that's basically killing everyone around the building in New York City is also affecting Danny, because, again, he's half human, so he's just not dying fast enough because of his ghost powers are keeping him alive. See the irony there. So he has to keep going. He has to keep fighting. So Danny encounters that he runs into the Jackal and the Juggernaut at the same time, and he's just like, he sees the Juggernaut at one end and the Jackal on the other, and he's like, all right, let's do this. So he fights both of them, gets his ass kicked, and he gets thrown into the center of the house. And there's Cyrus waiting for him. And Cyrus is just like, I'm so glad you came, Danny. And he's like, you must be Cyrus, right? I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name because I don't feel like flubbing it. I just know I'm gonna beat you. I'm just gonna beat your ass. So Cyrus explains that the reason. So Danny demands, like, yeah, how did the house come back? Last I heard, that shit went boom. And you all went to what I assume is hell. So Cyrus explains that they were kind of in like a limbo place. They were in like a place, a world between worlds, so to speak, and that's where they languished until Cyrus used all of the occult knowledge that he used to like rip a hole between the worlds and come back. This time leading to New York City. And then Danny's like, all right, so why did you want me? And he's like, because you are a world between worlds. You are a pathway between the land of the dead and the land of the living. I will, like, Cyrus plans to basically make Danny into his gateway between this world and, like, the ghost zone. And basically, like, he wants to bring the two worlds together, like, merge Earth and that one, and become the undisputed ruler. And he's like, Jesus, and I thought Vlad had an ego. All right, dude, let's do this. And he's like, oh, but, you know, if you were, you know, had you not stepped into this house, you may have, you know, had a better shot at beating me. But look at you. You're beaten down. That's why I put you through all the other ghosts. You know, that's why I sent all the other ghosts after you to beat you down. I needed you broken and beaten so I could use you as the gateway and use you as a key to go to, you know, to bring the two worlds together. So Danny gets strapped into the machine, and as it's like starting to power up, Danny like has to like focus all of the remaining energy he has, but even then he's like having trouble with it. And that's when he sees the machine start to like malfunction again, and that's when he looks over and he sees the withered lover over in the distance, kind of like fucking with the machine. And she's like, Cyrus goes over like, you stupid bitch, what have you done? And she just says, we belong dead. And Danny just uses all of his power. He just channels all of that power and just blasts his way out of the prison and just starts sonic screaming and tearing the place apart. And he's just like, go to hell and take your motherfucking friends with you. And he's just tearing the place apart, like sending it back into the like back into limbo and whatever. And as he's going away, you know, he sees the withered lover, and she's just like, you know, waving goodbye to him. And like before everything falls apart, she like gives him like a letter to give to someone. And she says, give this to my husband. And yeah, so the house fades away, the house crumbles away back into oblivion. Dennis is there, and he's like, okay, cool, I can move on now. And that's when Danny, like, you're going back to the ghost zone. Danny's like, you're going back to the ghost zone, right? And he's like, fuck no, dude, I'm going to heaven. You help me. I redeem myself with your help. I'm going to a land of blackjack and hookers, angel hookers. And he's like, sure. Goodbye, Dennis. So at the end of it, Danny goes to the withered lover's house, and yeah, I'm not like Monk. That's all we know from that's all we remember from that actor, is he played Monk. And Danny hands him the letter from his former wife, and like just says, this, she wanted me to give this to you. So he reads it, and he's just in tears, and he's like, thank you, you know, thank you, sir. So by the end of it, Danny's like, I am beaten, I am bloodied, I am going home. And that's how the story ends. It's just Danny just is like headed back home to Amby Park to heal. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much the Danny Phantom 13 Ghosts crossover. This was very much, if you haven't guessed already, this was very much inspired by Arkham Asylum: A Serious House on Serious Earth by Grant Morrison, one of my favorite Batman stories and one of my favorite comics in general. That was kind of that was what I was kind of working off of and kind of doing like that. So, yeah. But all in all, you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this crossover? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. And once again, if you'd like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.